Time has not been kind to Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. Back in '82, there was the thought that Michael Myers had run his course, that it might be time to let him rest and take the Halloween franchise in a new direction. 40 years, 10 sequels, and a handful of haunted house appearances later, it seems the world can't get enough of the Shatner-faced slasher. This explains the initial disappointment in Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. The idea was that after wrapping up Michael's story in Halloween 2, the following films would be new stories revolving around Halloween, the holiday. Sounds great on paper, but unfortunately, audiences weren't ready to see him go, and the franchise returned to Haddonfield for the fourth installment. Now we're left with a dozen Myers flicks and an oddball spin-off stuck in the middle of them about a toy factory and a gig giveaway. Season of the Witch has had a rough journey. When it was released, it was panned. It's not a slasher like the two previous films. It's too campy, even though that's part of the fun, and a whole generation of horror movie fans grew up being told you can skip it on a marathon night. But luckily, here in the future, we know that they were wrong. While Season of the Witch may be a poor Halloween Michael Myers movie, it's an incredibly fun cult classic. At its core, it works like a murder mystery, but for the first half, the answers just lead to more questions. The death of a toy salesman sparks an investigation into the Silver Shamrock Novelty Company, creators of the outrageously popular Halloween masks, which are really part of an evil scheme. It's campy fun that's full of classic Halloween style, and its downright kooky third act makes it a guaranteed addition to the annual October playlist. Fortunately, 40 years later, we seem to be seeing a redemption arc for Halloween 3. For the last several years, there have been a ton of new merchandise and fanfare surrounding the oft-overlooked sequel. It started with faithful recreations of the iconic pumpkin, skull, and witch mask from the Trick or Treat Studios. Now they've expanded into minibus, Christmas ornaments, and wall art inspired by the film. Nika has hopped on the bandwagon too, with a trio of 8-inch figures, and just recently added the ill-fated trick-or-treaters to their Toonie Terrors line. The 3 mask designs have also made their way on the pins, shirts, air fresheners, and more. This undoubtedly signals that Season of the Witch has finally found its audience. Season of the Witch deserved better than it got, but it's easy to understand why the chips fell the way they did. It's not the slasher fans expected, but it does bring some unique elements and macabre twists to the table that make you wonder if it could have suffered the same fate with a different title. We'll never know how it would have played differently, if at all, but it's nice to see the film finally get some recognition and fanfare after so many years of being hidden in Michael's shadow. We hope you enjoyed this episode of Phaser Audio. This episode is based on the essay, The Redemption of Season of the Witch by Zack Zopp. For more essays and articles, head over to phasermedia.com. Peace, y'all.